Crypto.Lifestyle. All right. Here we are on Wednesday, June 26th. Welcome in to the Herdcast. I am excited to be here with Shankar Poncelet. We've become friends over the last while here, and it's been a really enjoyable experience. We're getting to know each other, and we're going to get to know each other a lot more today because we're going to get to share with you. Shankar is a crypto enthusiast, owner of Crypto.Lifestyle. I know you're a business owner, and I welcome you. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure being here. I mean, you're one of the first people to talk a lot about elephant money, and I'm just honored to be on your show.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. What I wanted to do is just we can cover a lot of ground here because the future is wide open, and including for the next while we talk. I just really look forward to learning about your journey. One of the things that I love to do here is get to know folks who are a part of the Elephant Money community and then find out their stories. Because I love stories. I love listening to stories, and I love storytelling. And so I will share that on my YouTube videos, and I'd love to get into that with you. I'd like to know some about let's just start with, what your background is in life and how you got into business to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always say I am the personification of the American dream. I am originally from Luxembourg, which is a small country landlocked by Germany, France, and Belgium. And I had a career in law enforcement over there. Specifically, for quite a while, I was investigating financial fraud, international financial fraud. And I think that's always interesting to know about a person, right? What happened before they became a business owner or whatnot. So at the age of 28, I stopped that and immigrated to the United States. And I started my new life, if you will, studying interactive media in Oxford, Ohio, at Miami University. Then I worked for a little bit, and I very soon started freelancing and building my own business. And without really planning it, I became a serial entrepreneur. Being very engaged in being visible online and being interested in free market medical approaches. And as you may know, I'm sure you do, business owners always like to network and have mentors so that they can grow and see what's next for them. And one of my very esteemed mentors, he has a group where every month we get together virtually and we learn about something very exciting. And elephant money was the main topic in one of those occasions to learn. And that was really serendipitous because I don't think with my background, I would have maybe been open-minded enough to give it a listen. But since it happened in that space where I got the information from people I trusted and I knew, I heard firsthand from Chris Farrell. He's in the UK, and he has a lot of great educational materials out there about elephant money. And that was last October. So I gave it a try, and I just have been a proponent and enthusiast ever since. It has changed my life and my businesses. And yeah, I mean, as you said, the future is wide open and very exciting.
Oh my goodness. So where in this process have you learned about, cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, And then the big one, the technical parts of having a wallet, onboarding fiat, those kind of things. How did you get into learning about that? And where were you in the process when you started to learn about elephant money?
Yeah, I it must have been in 2016 or so when I first heard about Bitcoin, and I was open-minded enough to buy 4 Bitcoin at that time. And I just held onto those, hodling, as we call it, amongst crypto enthusiasts. But it just means you keep them in your wallet, and I actually kept it in my Coinbase account. And I was busy growing my businesses, so I just let it sit there until I learned about elephant money. And it was at that point that I had, of course, created a nice profit that was unrealized. But that was my starting point. I understood, okay, I have this Bitcoin, but somehow elephant money runs on a different blockchain and it requires a different currency to contribute to it. And due to those educational materials that Chris put out, I was able to learn. Now, I will say I have a technical background. Part of my education is also being a computer scientist and a software developer. So I think that helped a little bit. But one amazing side effect of getting involved in DeFi, specifically in something that is as clearly defined with a community as elephant money, is that you really understand, you're forced to understand the different components of what it takes to partake in a financial venture that is decentralized and on a blockchain. You learn about the basics of security, and I would dare to say that everyone, probably most people who start being active in DeFi, also initially fall for small scams left and right. I certainly did. I clicked on one of those links that I wasn't supposed to. Luckily, it was early in my career, and the damage was not as bad as it could have been. But yeah, that's how you learn, by being interested in growing your nest egg or partaking in preparing your financial future. You just are, as a nice side effect, you have to learn about all of these technical aspects of DeFi.
Yes, yes, yes. So having a business background, hearing the numbers, that made sense. You had some technical background, that's helpful. But it's also, for some of the newer folks, or even folks who've been holding a little bit of cryptocurrency. A lot of people, friends that I know, have just a little bit of Doge, a little bit of Shiba. It's kind of encouraging for folks like that to know that you know, you don't have a developer's background. You bought some Bitcoin and you held it.
Yeah.
And you have pretty much really a real, just kind of standard, a basic understanding, and yet elephant money just made sense. And the one of the things that I appreciate about the protocol is you don't really have to have a massive technical brain to take in the different components. And so Bank Teller describes it like it's a menu at a restaurant. You have different types of products that you can choose from, and then you can sit and think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, what most people, when they refer to crypto, they understand it as buying crypto and keeping it somewhere. Maybe some people try to buy low and sell high. But what is interesting about DeFi is it takes the whole thing into a deeper level, right? Where you use crypto as part of a tool and a strategy, and you're no longer just working with the raw material by buying and selling it, but you're putting it to work in business systems. And that is really a step further. And you have to, sometimes when I expose people to elephant money or DeFi, they feel initially a little bit defeated, or they feel like, oh my gosh, I don't understand any of this. But I have to remind everyone that anything that is worth knowing and produces value in life and in business just requires some ramp up time. You need to understand, and we're not talking about rocket science here. I think it is made uh, as easy as it can possibly be in elephant money. But you also need to understand this is a serious thing. This is where your money grows. This is where your money is safe, and you just need to take baby steps and lean into it at the level you feel comfortable, and also just be patient. It's something that is not around enough patience these days, right? But
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
be be gracious with yourself and understand where you are at.
Right.
Maybe you don't have as much time as someone else to devote to it initially, but as long as you connect to the community, you make sure you educate yourself. It's fun. It's a journey where you learn so much. A whole world opens to you that you most likely had no clue about so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is where I think that's also part of the amazing element, where I see us as a community as pioneers in one of the last frontiers, or a new
Yeah.
frontier.
Yeah. New frontier.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah.
I listened to a podcast called Crypto 101, and they get some guests on there who have been pioneers in Web3.
Mhm.
One of the guests basically invented chat back when web was just Web 1. You didn't interact with it.
Yeah.
And when you listen to folks like that, they can tell you that when email first started coming out, people were wondering, well, is anybody going to use this? What's the point?
Yeah.
It's fascinating to hear the origin stories of things that we now use on a regular basis, and that's where we are here with Web3, with decentralized finance. And so, hey, let's get to some comments. Jed, good to see you.
Hi, Jed.
One of the first, you're the first one here, and I want to get to another comment here, and let's address this straight up. I said you don't have a developer's background, and she says, Andrea, that how you pronounce your name? LOL. He does have a developer's background. Okay, so am I being corrected here? Did I
Well, yeah. I
misunderstand, or
mean,
did I
she,
misspeak?
she
What's up?
knows she knows that I studied computer science and
Oh, okay.
software engineering, but
Yeah.
uh, it's always, yeah. I mean,
Well,
you don't have,
I get it.
the point is that you don't have to have that background to
Yeah.
use elephant money. I really don't think that is necessary.
Right. And to clarify what I was saying, developer meaning you haven't developed your own crypto project,
Correct.
to that degree. I was
Yeah.
kind of taking it that far, that you haven't coded in DeFi to the degree that when you look at projects, you can just, see under the hood as easily as you could if that was something that you do. Because even though we can have computer backgrounds looking at cryptocurrency projects, well, then we have to have a whole different
Absolutely.
A whole different type of an education, as we try to understand the language, talking about liquidity, talking about market cap, those kinds of things. So, but
That is
thank
very
you.
accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Earn Crypto. Hey, good to see you folks here. Um, Mikey and Nadina, developers of Earn
Mhm.
Crypto. And Trail, you remember Web 1, don't we all? The weird sound that was made when we wanted to go online because we had to take up our phone line and then just take forever to just do a little bit of stuff. Yeah. Oh, yes. Michael Oates. Good to see you, my man. Excellent. So I would like to talk to you a little bit about um, because of your business, you know, your success in business, and we're talking about, you know, cryptocurrency and finances, and as you said, it's difficult to be patient. I'd like to
Mhm.
talk a little bit about mindset. Let's just start, like, for example, um, I think a lot of us have attempted different types of business ventures, and we've had some levels of success and also failures. Um, when we study these things, we learn that successful people have had numerous failures, and you have to keep going. Winston Churchill has a famous quote that success is going from failure to failure without any loss of enthusiasm. What are some of the best things that you've learned along the way in business that you think would be helpful to tell some people who are still working on becoming successful?
Oh yeah. Um, and let me give some detail to my business successes. So, and I don't want to be boastful or anything, but I think it is important. I've achieved seven-figure success, right, in businesses that are completely separate from crypto, and I think the most important aspect of being in business is to know what your long-term goal is, what your value is, and know that the best way to get to your goals is by being persistent, incredibly persistent, but along the road, be open to learn from people who are where you want to be, and to, as much as possible, if you can, create synergies where you can speed up your process of getting where you want to be. That is very important. The other aspect that is very important is that you have a keen understanding of what your market is and what the market demands from you, because very often as business owners, we're so much in love with what we think is the best thing since sliced bread that we bring to the market. But if our customers don't agree, or they don't perceive it from the perspective that we do, then really we're fighting an uphill battle that we cannot win. So that means we need to be aware of our surroundings and be nimble enough to pivot, to take our skills and pivot them in a way where now we're making headway much easier. um, that is extremely important. The other part that is also very important is your ability to clearly communicate your ideas in ways where you use your audience's language. You go away from the jargon, you go away from the complicated terminology, and you just try to your best abilities to explain what's in it for them. Because people want to be either entertained, get something for free, or know what's in it for them. Okay, I no longer hear you, and I don't know if it is
There we go.
my.
Sorry.
Yep.
I got it. Sorry about that. I muted myself because I was having to make some noise here and I didn't want it to come across. No, my wife and I have been performers for 30 years. And so, yes, we have to dance that dance all of the time with our customer base, and the customers being, if we're hired for a private event or if we're performing at a public event, it's the folks who hired us, and then we need to satisfy the audience in the
Mm.
best way that we can too. So it does require even on the spot dealing with curveballs that come your way while you're performing. It's very challenging. um,
Absolutely.
and so, that leads me to my next question, and that is, in business, we always have to deal with risk versus reward. How do
Yeah.
you make some of those decisions? We all have to consider, I have expenses that I need to kind of get into to make sure, like, I'll just use ourselves for example. We have to purchase our equipment. We have to purchase gear. We have constant decisions on how much to buy. Um, and that's a risk. It's a financial risk. I know every business has to face this. How do you approach those kinds of decisions?
Yeah, that's a great question. In business and in life, it's all about making calculated risks, taking calculated risks, being not too risk aware. Now, in order to make those decisions, you cannot get around being very self aware of what your financial situation is. And that requires understanding it, but also not being blindsided to it, being open to knowing where am I situated. It's very important to know your numbers, whether you are a personal household or a business. You always need to know at least what are my savings, what are my monthly expenses, and what is my projected income. Having those numbers allows you to know what is my risk tolerance according to your personality. Um, the other thing that has always helped me tremendously is to live below my means, and I mean that in all the possible meanings, right? So as a business owner, as a private person, with anything that is a resource for me, whether that is money or energy or time, I try to live below my means so that when an opportunity occurs, I can take advantage of it. For example, let's go back to those 4 Bitcoin that had a cost for me of, I believe it was roughly $16,000. I waited for years looking at it, getting sometimes up to a value of $168,000, not touching it, where I know most other people would have cashed out and buy something nice. I waited for life to show me elephant money, right? So I didn't know that elephant money was gonna come across my way, but you always have to know something is gonna come in your personal life or in your business where you just feel that in a conviction that this is the moment to make a move, and then you got to have the resources to make that move. And that is how I did it, right? So I took the proceeds of those 4 Bitcoins, implemented into the larger elephant money ecosystem, and it has probably tripled or quadrupled since then, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of my thought about that.
So, how do you develop that patience? Patience is challenging in our
Yeah.
culture. We're in a microwave culture,
Hmm.
and I can speak for myself. I I think I'm a patient person,
Yeah.
but I have done things that clearly show when it comes to money or wanting things, I show impulsivity. I can be very impulsive, wanting things and getting ahead of myself, getting ahead of the finances.
Mhm.
And I think that some of the losses that I've taken, I think the losses I've taken in crypto and the pain that I've endured has actually taught me deeply to be more risk averse, to be more patient.
Mhm.
Um, and so, but I wonder how, what did you do? What do you do? What do you coach yourself mentally to have the discipline to say, I don't want to cash. I don't want to buy a nice thing right now. I don't want
Yeah.
to cash out and buy something nice. I'm going to delay that. What do you do? What's your mindset? What's your mental practice?
Yeah, great question. So I'm actually by nature not patient. What you need to do is you need to be very self aware and look at patterns in your life
Mhm.
where you continuously burned yourself by not
Mhm.
showcasing a certain virtue.
Yep.
And I have had in my life so far on several occasions moments where my impatience really hurt me
Mhm.
very badly in different ways, financial or friendships or
Yep.
mental or whatever opportunities. And at some
Totally.
point you just have to see the message.
Right.
Your past holds the most important lessons for you, the person that you are, and you need to recognize the signals and at some point apply them. Now, where do you need to apply them first? There where it is most needed and where most of the desire lies, right? So, for me as a business owner, as someone who likes money, is exactly there. Now, it certainly helps that as a business owner, I always understand that I need to be not only good to me, but that I'm a steward to my larger ecosystem, my employees. If you're not a business owner, it doesn't matter. You are that to your family, right? If you are a herd member, which is how we refer to people who partake in elephant money, the larger community is to whom you need to be a good steward to.
Mhm.
So you're either going to see those lessons and do what's difficult and apply patience if that is what is your weakness, or you're not. And unfortunately, some people never learn the lessons in life. They typically do not find success. That's the reality. But the good thing is that we're being given multiple choices in life. Generally speaking, we can mess up a few times, but at some point it's the time to grow up and make the right decisions. And very often we kind of our inner core knows what's right to do, and it's usually our desires who push us into making decisions that are not healthy for us.
You're right. Yeah. And the interesting thing is money is so different. Dealing with money for me, I'll just speak for myself.
Mhm.
Dealing with money is so different than dealing with people. Um, I I can be really patient with people. Um, because I'm just able to just kind of let things go when it comes to the way people drive or this or that. I don't let those things bother me. I've been a middle school counselor. I was a middle school counselor for 10 years. And aside from all of the administrative challenges and the amount the workload was very, very difficult. I really loved working with the kids. I loved being a counselor with the kids. And and with my wife and my daughter, um, I think they appreciate that I am not an impulsive, cranky I get tired. I have my moments, but in general, it's more important for me to just not always complain and do all that stuff. I'd rather my wife and daughter just really enjoy being around me, so I'd rather just
Mhm.
not say things, and let's just let's just major on enjoying our time together, and we're going to work through stuff in the most positive kind of ways. I can do that. But when it comes to money, I'm such a work in progress. Um, and I think that a lot of people, struggle with, you want money before you actually have it, and so you want to live like you have more money than you do, you know? And of course, being in our culture, even though I know that I am amongst I am one of the most wealthy people in the world. If you compare my finances to people all over the world, I'm wealthy, and I
Mhm.
have to keep reminding myself of that. But it is so difficult in our culture where you want little, you go and I'm going to buy some shorts at TJ Maxx, but then you see this little game that you can play in the backyard with the kid. Oh, maybe I'll buy. Oh, look, a cornhole game. And those are the kinds of things that I am coaching myself out of, because I've wasted valuable dollars reaching and grabbing and things. And now, what's great is I'm learning from people like you, Lancer, all sorts of folks who are just talking their own strategy where, let's hang on to that money. Let's hold on to it. Because right now I'm in a pattern, like even with my elephant money, I'm just DCAing little bits at a time. I don't feel like I have to get involved in every new shiny object. I'm just enjoying, just holding,
Mhm.
just taking my time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. When you ask people what they want when they start businesses or when they, buy that lottery ticket, uh, an overwhelming majority will tell you they want freedom. So then we have to ask ourselves, what does freedom mean, right? And I can tell you firsthand that being successful as a businessman or a businesswoman can have the exact inverse effect. Your success and your busyness can take away your freedom to the point that the money you make, you don't even have the time anymore to spend it. I've been there prior to elephant money, right? And there is a point of inverted returns, right? And for most, depending on where you live, that number is different. But I think a number that I heard was in most states in the United States, as a two-person household, if you make between 70 and 100K a year, anything beyond that actually doesn't give you more freedom, doesn't make you happier. It is just you get very used to lifestyle inflation, right? So meaning
Hmm.
you no longer drive the Chevy, you drive the Cadillac, but it doesn't
Hmm.
really make you happier, right? It just
Hmm.
gets you into that rat race of having to keep up with that. So knowing and understanding what it is for you uh, to have that freedom is very important. But it is very difficult, I will admit to that, because me too, I first had to get to a point where I had that money, but the busyness was kind of not letting me even spend it, enjoy it. And that is where I have to admit, that is when I discovered DeFi. It's such a perfect vehicle to generate passive income by making smart decisions. And that has given me the breathing space to restructure how I behave in my other businesses so that I get a little bit more of that time back to enjoy what I perceive as freedom. And if anyone is wondering what freedom is for most people, well, I can tell you also firsthand, at the very top is your health, because for anyone who has had any type of ailments, you know that if you don't feel well, you can't move, you cannot enjoy anything you have, right? So it's your health, it's your time freedom, it's your location freedom, it's the freedom to decide with whom you are and what you do in your free time. So for most people, that means the life with family, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. So
it's
good. Go
so
ahead.
important. And when it comes to money, then understanding that money is a form of energy that you can deploy to do something that you needed to do for your business, for your family, or maybe for a much larger scope, like the community or the country or the planet, right? And just knowing what matters to you and seeing the money as little soldiers that you can deploy on your behalf, as little employees that you can deploy on your behalf and do the work for you that you need to get done in order to feel that happiness and freedom in life.
Yeah. Oh, yep. I appreciate that so much. And that's such a theme. It's really a huge reason that I am a crypto enthusiast. My wife and I have been this fall, September 3rd, will be our 30th wedding anniversary. We met 2 years before we got married, so we've been doing music together for almost 32 years. And music in our country, I'll just say our country, I don't know what it's like to be a musician in, you know, in France or in another country. I just think that our culture, the way we treat the arts, is the music. It makes the music business very, very odd, very strange, and can be incredibly difficult to make a career out of being a musician.
Mhm.
And so here we are, 32 years into a career, and we are concerned about money every morning. And I feel
Yeah.
very hurt for my wife, who is an incredibly gifted singer. And she sometimes doesn't know if she wants to keep doing it simply because of the anxiety that comes over her concern about the money.
Mhm.
And you don't want to do something you love that just kind of drains your energy and doesn't reward you in one of the most valuable ways that you could be rewarded. For example, she just spent months, many months, learning numerous Carpenters songs where she sang 6 leads of Karen Carpenter. But then she also had to sing the backups in the group. And they only had a few rehearsals as a group together because of the budget. And this is at a local music at a theater, local theater, where the musicians she's working with are incredible. In fact, the friendships you make being a musician are the best things about it. So Marisa France, who put it together, it was amazing, and they had live horns, and the band was exceptional. And they did 2 shows, and there was so much work put into it. And then Shelly got her check 2 weeks later, and I saw the look on her face when she saw the check. And it was a lot less than what she hoped for. And what a challenge that is for that to
Mhm.
be your career. And so and that's just one story of, so I could go on about, a much larger letdown that we had financially and emotionally. Music that she recorded, and we were lied to, and we paid for it all, and I could go on, but
Mhm.
I won't tell that story. Um So my point is, she and I really want to enjoy what we love to do, which is to give through our art without worrying about the money. And we would also like to have the freedom to enjoy our lives together outside of working without worrying about whether a trip to the coast for a few days and all of that is going to put a real pinch on our monthly income. So I love what we're talking about here with mindset and lifestyle. And I want to I want to click on another comment. Andrea, I appreciate this part of the talk because you can't remove mindset from a conversation about wealth generation. Absolutely. And so, speaking of my wife, here she is. Hello, Shankar. So wonderful to have you on CC Man's channel. Always enjoy your emails and your style of teaching. Thank you for all that you're doing to make EM accessible to common men and women.
Thank you so much. That
Yes.
really inspires me to continue. Thank you.
Well, oh, that's great. You know, before we went on, I told you my wife is really supportive, and Elephant Money out of the other any of the other projects that I've got into is the only one that draws her in. You know, the listening to the spaces on Wednesdays and listening to things that you have to say, the community aspect of it and the approach, it's attractive
Yeah.
to a lot of folks, and so it's something that she really enjoys because it makes sense. Community bank. It doesn't matter if you're a whale or a minnow. You can get involved and have the same amount of hope. I would just say hope, but the same amount of you can plan accordingly.
Vision. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same type of vision. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Yeah. I am convinced that community is what will make this Elephant Money project the most successful DeFi community bank ever on the planet. Very often you have technology that is as an equal level or even better. And that doesn't even only apply to technology, maybe even to musicians, right? But
Hmm.
it is
Hmm.
the community that surrounds them and the culture within the community that decides whether you can go further or not. And that has become even truer in the age of AI and lots of artificial content, which I refer to as white noise. So your ability to gather a community around your cause is truly a advantage that will make you go much further than other alternatives.
I completely agree. People need and love to be a part of something. We love to connect with each other. We love to feel like we're contributing to something. We love to get behind something that we enjoy. And I live in a college city. I live in Eugene, Oregon. University of Oregon is here. And my dad was a professor for 26 years, and he took great pride in being really involved with the students that he taught, involved in their lives. And he helped to mentor athletes just voluntarily because he just thought that was a very important a part of his job because he was one of the only African Americans in Eugene, Oregon in the early 70s. And so there are black athletes coming to this school. He wanted to help them feel like they could have community and have some support. So
Mhm.
he took that upon himself, and that was really important for him. And I really think that had a lot to do with where we are as a university. I know Nike money has helped a lot. However, this city has a certain culture of people where we care about uh, each other. Um, we care about being supportive. And
Mhm.
so even if our teams aren't winning well, like last year, our women's basketball team did not do very well. But I know that because we're a personable community, like me, I'll take pride in the fact that I texted Kelly Graves, our coach, all through the season to tell him, we're behind you. We love you. I know I was not the only one. That is what we do here in Eugene. We are having the United States track and field Olympic trials here in Eugene again. The
Oh.
reason is that this city developed over the years the culture of loving track and field so much that we know the athletes, we know their personal best, we know the deeper stuff. You know, it's kind of like how people in Europe are about their soccer, you know, their football, right? It's this is like a European city for track and field. We're the easily the greatest city for the athletes to come to because of the kind of noise that we make while they're running their distance or doing long jump, all of that. We as humans love to be a part of it. You
Yeah.
know, that means so much to me. That takes such great pride in that. And that is that. So that's, since that's ingrained in my personality, I think that has a lot to do with why I said, let me put on the camera and do these videos and meet people and tell the stories, because it gives me inspiration. And of course, I'm learning from people who know finance and business and those kinds of things a lot more than I do, because that's just not my background. But I do know that in life, the way to become successful is to sit at the feet of people who know what they're doing and listen and learn and humble yourself and keep doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, community also, as you just outlined, requires members of the community who are willing to invest into it, who are willing to make sacrifices, who are willing to make contributions from all walks of life. And that is definitely what I can see in the elephant money community as well. And some people really, like you, put quite a big part of their resources into that community. And not to forget BT, our founder himself. I mean, I am constantly amazed at the amount of energy he is willing to expose himself to, right? Because depending, when he has to make bold decisions, then there's not always the water is not always calm. And being
Well said.
able to carry that energy that gets transferred through the chats and God knows what other means, is that's really a tough job, you know. And
Yes.
that is why it is so important that we have pillars within the community that can help carry through that journey, right? And I know that is what you are doing, and that is also most certainly one of the reasons why I chose to be so public and so involved in this community as well.
Yeah. Yep. I hear what you're saying. It does take a willingness to just keep putting it out there. For example, we've just heard that a documentary is going to be made, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, the waters aren't always calm when BT is making decisions. But I love the fact that I have made some real personal friends. And what I can do is I don't have to I don't have to be tossed and driven by the wind. I can talk to my friends, and it's really great to hear folks who've, you know, Digita, for example. He's known BT for 25 years. He said he has sat with him when they're working in traditional finance. He says, I've seen what he does. I've watched what he does. I know what he does. So when people like that are saying, I know that the moves he makes are well thought out, you know? So, for example, with the documentary, you know, I'm sure some folks will be saying, well, why, you know, why now? You know, we're not successful yet, or so on. And there's nothing wrong, you know, with people having a reaction and wondering if a decision is the best decision. And so but though, again, the way I see it, though, my you know, I sifted through my mind and thinking about BT and his strategy. I'm thinking, well, it's just like how the NFL allows for a show called Hard Knocks, where cameras are in the locker room of a team from the beginning of the season through the end of the season. Now, nobody knows if that's going to be a successful season or not. But the point is that there's a lot of exposure, a lot of notoriety that comes from that storytelling. So the success doesn't have to come before you start telling people, hey, this is what's going on, this is what we're doing. I mean, I can, and then so a comment that I did see earlier today was saying, well, I think it was actually Digita who's saying, yeah, well, when we have cameras following BT while he's at these conferences and doing all this stuff, that's key. That's key footage, key information that tells the story. I love to watch a show that's called The Food That Made America, and they recreate, they reenact, you know, what happens with Glenn Bell, the founder of Taco Bell, and all of the ups and downs and the behind the scenes and how you made decisions and all of that. That's going to be a great story here with Elephant Money. That kind of thing, if it is being documented now, that's a great thing in my point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, in my humble opinion, if you are in leadership, no matter where that is, and you don't make some decisions every now and then that engender some controversy, then you're not really a leader who makes key and bold decisions, because you'll never satisfy everyone. So it's a good sign. It's a good sign, and it's also a good sign that, you know, we have a space to voice our opinions and that everybody is being heard. And so that's all good. And in terms of documenting the journey, I mean, part of it, and I don't want to get all woo-woo about it, but for those of you who do know and believe to certain degrees in the law of attraction, you know, is like, if you see the vision, believe the vision, and live the vision, you know it's worth documenting every single step along the way. And very often, I mean, we see that in art very often, where the greatest artists at their lifetime, they were not recognized, they were poor people. And now, you know, centuries later, we go into museums and admire their art, right? But that is often with great, groundbreaking, pioneering novelty. That is just the way it goes. And I personally have the conviction that what we're looking at here, this DeFi community bank, is such a thing that in 5, 10, 15 years is just something that betters the lives of millions of people. And we will be very fond to look back at, who knows, maybe a Netflix documentary where we can see and retrace the origins of it.
Oh, for sure. In fact, a great movie that came out was Val Kilmer story. The actor, he carried a camera around his whole life. So now that he's at the point where he has throat cancer, so he cannot speak well, but he could host his own story of his journey in acting, and it's caught on camera because he always filmed what he was doing while he was doing it. And it is just a wonderful story to watch. And we all love these things, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So to get to some comments here, Moneyman Happy Wednesday, my crypto friends. Just hopped on to say hello, give you my support, and just say thanks for all you do. Thank you. Congratulations on your son's marriage. I know you're a blessed man. You're with your family. Thanks for popping on. And while we're on that topic of friendship, um, keep Blackberry Guy in your prayers because he traveled back home to Iowa. He lives where there were some major floods.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And so he told me just yesterday that his church is housing some folks from a different church. They're actually going to host them for the next few weeks. There are people who were completely flooded out of their homes. And so keep him and his family in your prayers. And then Nina's DeFi, she lives in Nairobi, Kenya. And there's some political unrest. That's a simple way that I'm saying there's some major scary stuff that happened there. And so pray for her and her family because she had to go to the airport to pick up some loved ones and was not even sure if the police and it was even safe to do so, but just found out home safe with the family. So that's good. I'm sharing all of this to tell you how personable this this hurt is. I mean,
Yeah.
I did not anticipate the kind of friendships that I've made and that I have and that I can look forward to. And speaking of, Mark, good to see you again. Mark's in Denmark. And that's just a bit north of where you're from, Shankar, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. I can't speak much Danish. I can speak a little bit because I have some friends
Oh,
who are
really?
Danish. In fact, the owner of my real estate company is Danish, and we have actually a lot of really, really good friends who are Danish. So we know a
That's
few.
cool.
We know how to say when you don't want to do something, you say "nej tak."
Okay. Yeah.
Means no, thank you. Good to see you, Mark. Shankar, est-ce que vous parlez en Luxembourg? Parlez
Oui,
français?
oui, oui, oui. Ça, c'est. Nous, on a notre langue, notre propre langue, luxembourgeois, mais on parle aussi le français.
Oui, oui. So Luxembourg is a French-speaking country, but are there other countries? I mean, is there another main language in
Yeah,
Luxembourg?
I will say we are trilingual. So
Okay.
our primary language is actually Luxembourgish, um,
Okay.
but we have to be so cosmopolitan due to our geographical situation and geopolitical situation. We all speak German and French, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us speak English to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, right. I admire that about people from around the world because here in the States, we tend to be raised to just only want to speak English. And I'm a little bit of of an odd bird. I grew up reading Tintin books
Oh
by
yeah,
Hergé, right?
me
And
too.
that made me want to be an international man. I wanted to I would love to speak 4 or 5 languages fluently because I love the idea of being able to to connect with people in their language, you know.
Well,
So
I can tell you it has its challenges when you're a young boy going through school. But
yeah,
obviously, yeah, we don't like it that much at that point. But then
you're right.
later,
When you're a
yeah,
child, yes. Well,
but
my
then later
parents
you
did.
realize, wow, it's
Oh,
really,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, you do. Yes, because my parents wanted me to take French, and I had 3 really wonderful French teachers, and one of them was she was Swiss, so she was a native French speaker. Actually, 2 of them were native. One of them he's African as well.
Mhm.
And so it's nice that I still can speak some French because one of the parents at my daughter's school is African, and so he loved that he and I could speak some French together.
Yeah.
So that was really great. So, okay, getting back to this real quick, let's take a quick shift back to my wife. She's saying, please give your take on what I can do to take my trunk to a new level. I'm still learning the different aspects of elephant money and need to hear the basics over and over, it seems, since crypto is new to me. And I know that this question applies to a lot of folks, probably a third of folks who are, anytime if they're going to come across our videos, a lot of people are new.
Yeah.
What
Well,
would you say?
so I hope I do BT justice, but I think it's pretty simple. We need more people who see Trunk as a store of value for the future, as opposed to something that they get in and out for speculative reasons. So that means understand that Trunk is an amazing option to be your dynamic piggy bank where you DCA in at your convenience and you let it grow and you sell a little bit whenever there's a realistic need. And just to explain what DCA means, because I think we make the assumption that everybody knows what that is. DCA stands for dollar cost averaging. It comes out of traditional finance, and it simply means you take the money that you have to invest, that is healthy for you to invest, you break it up in small chunks, and you purchase a little bit of the asset on a schedule that is healthy for you. For some of us, it is daily, for others, it's weekly, monthly, what have you. And by doing so, you build constant buy pressure on the asset, which is good for Trunk because it increases in value. And also, you conveniently get a good average price for your asset. BT has made it very clear that it is more important for a lot of people to constantly buy small chunks of Trunk. And that can be as small as $20, $50, whatever is convenient for you. That is more important than having one big investor that just comes in for speculative reasons, buys a lot, and then later sells it, right? So
Right.
one of the best things to do is to just realize the amazing opportunity that we have right now. Of course, as always in this space, you need to do your own research. You need to have your own conviction about this being a good decision for you. And then at your own convenience, DCA into this asset.
Oh, excellent. Again, talking about the menu of items, this can be a bit of a more relaxing, less harrowing experience for people in crypto than anything that I know of, because a person can DCA into Trunk. You can now lend USDC on Solend. That is completely liquid. So you're not thinking about price volatility. You're not having to watch a chart. You can make really high gains on just taking cash and loaning it. And then you can build your futures account. You can also have your bag of elephant, which, again, what you were talking about, patience. We were talking patience. Elephant is going to rise again, and there are now multiple features in play that will give elephant the third parabolic rise that can be expected because of what's happening with futures, Trunk, the turbines, the kind of buybacks that Bertha will continue to do, because now with Bertha's buybacks, Bertha's buying cheap elephant.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
So you can have your bag of elephant, have your bag of Trunk, build your futures account and use that, like how BlackBerry guy was able to retire from 37 years in ministry, full-time ministry, because futures gives him the kind of base salary that allows him to step back. That's something that my wife and I can now look forward to. And I know a lot of people can look forward to that. We just would love, we've had a fluctuating income for almost all of our marriage. I mean, when I was a counselor,
Mhm.
that was a steady income, but being a realtor for the last 12 years, both of us, fluctuating income. The older
Mhm.
we get, the less we enjoy it, which we never did enjoy it.
Yeah, who
And
does?
so,
I mean,
oh my goodness, yes. So to
yeah.
have a steady type of salary with futures would be incredible. And then we don't have to feel like we're chasing day trading and swing trading and those kind of volatile situations. Yes, so that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. I mean, even for me, someone who's used to having income from business, I mean, this futures income is just a blessing. It gives predictability, stability. It lets you make decisions that you have to make. It lets you make those in an easier, more effortless way. It gives a lot of peace of mind. You sleep better. It's just a blessing for me. It has been a blessing upon my life for sure.
Hmm. Hmm. And the other thing that is helpful is to again get to know folks who understand the mechanics of crypto. You've been involved in DeFi for many, many years. People like SK, Jed, Mike Dre, folks who can run the numbers out, because we know BT runs the numbers out. There were
Yeah.
DeFi got a really bad rap after the last bull run because there's so many rug pulls, and some of them were scams, some were not. And just in my perspective, I think people just didn't run the numbers out. you know
Oh yeah.
we know that BT knows how to do that, but then it's also great to have the backup people like Mike Dre and Bailey, who know how to do the math and say, well, if everybody tried to withdraw from futures, well, that you can't do that. It's set up to run out for
Yeah.
X amount of years, even by itself. But now with getting onto Solana and Solend and the lending platform, that's a whole new set of eyes and a whole new set of external revenue that adds an incredible amount of sustainability. That's what I say. I know I'm not giving
You.
financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but what do you say, Shankar?
Um, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the lending business has solved, and I kind of had this epiphany in the middle of the night. Yeah, when I wake up, I think about elephant money. I'm that involved. But I think it solves a great problem that a lot of us have, and that is explain how does the bank make its money, right? I'm sure anyone here watching us who has tried to convey this to someone, that was one of the first questions they get. And that's then where you have to like get into tokenomics, and the lay people just don't buy it. They have a hard time wrapping their mind around that. But now you can say, well, this bank, just like any other bank in traditional finance, has a lending business, and that's where it makes its
Mm.
money. And I think that is awesome, because you full stop there. And I can guarantee you a lot of people will say, okay, that makes sense. I know that my bank does that too with my money.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, with that, we're about at an hour 10, which is just, we're just, it has just gone by so fast. And I just want to read another couple of comments here, and then I think this is just a great amount of time. We've covered so much ground. Prince V, futures is a blessing indeed. Currently taking a compound break to new target salary from August. What is your opinion about givers of yield for futures for the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah. I think Prince is asking about the sustainability of futures, and here is the thing. I have tried myself, and I am good with mathematics. I have tried to run some simulations. But what you need to understand is that the way the futures engine works is very, very advanced mathematics and financial modeling. And, our BT is a very smart guy, MIT graduate, and it is just really nothing on planet Earth is like fail safe for sure, cannot like fail, right? I'm not saying that,
Mhm.
but the way it is engineered is really, really strong. And to use his words, it is now self-healing, right? And it is just, he also said, the way we are set up as a herd right now, we will sustain and support futures. He is not worried about futures. And I think you shouldn't be either. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have the freedom to ask questions, right? But there's like this danger in DeFi of trying to understand every aspect of it. And maybe that is not healthy, because I wouldn't go to my brand Chase branch down the road and say, hey, let me see if you are doing everything correctly with your treasury so that I can pull out my money if needed, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
it is, I think, uh, reasonably safe to base your next 2 and 3 years and even the future on it. And the one thing that BT did mention publicly yesterday in the AMA is he said he doesn't know if futures is going to be around forever, but if he chooses
Mhm.
not to, he will retire it graciously. And what does
Mhm.
that mean? It means that anyone who's in there invested, they will continue benefiting from it. It just
Mhm.
wouldn't have new customers. But
Mhm.
if you look at the Dune dashboard, which is a place where you can look at all the numbers, you see that generally speaking, 40% of the transactions are withdrawals, all the rest is deposits. And that is by design, because it doesn't make sense to be a participant in futures without depositing,
Mhm.
more frequently than you withdraw. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to stop it, because otherwise we're going to go deep into a rabbit hole. I can tell you, me, Shankar Poncelet, I have faith in this. I'm convicted that it has a future, but everybody needs to do their own research. I'm not a financial
Correct.
advisor.
No, yeah, that's correct. Mike Dre, somebody I've become friends with, I respect his numbers, and yes, he has run numbers out, yeah, at least, from his perspective, and the future is very good with it. And like what you're saying about BT, when he talks and shares things, he's constantly giving tips on all levels, and he's constantly talking to people who aren't experienced, saying, giving tips on, hey, do things this way because I don't want you to get wrecked. Because he has experience, he knows what it feels like, he knows that feeling of dipping your toe in the water with the sharks and just getting chewed getting chewed up. And so he's always giving us tips. I do believe this is his masterwork, his masterpiece. He cares a lot about people. And so as he takes he takes us into consideration. So as he makes plans, he will give everyone a chance to stay whole in situations. And so this is, elephant money is the one reason that I am still really involved in cryptocurrency, because I had so many other things that just did not work out. But this is the one where I've had gains, where I have communication, you have, friendships, and also I've never been left behind. When something gets changed, I have time to take my tokens and move it over to the new situation. I've never lost anything. Never lost my access or anything like that. That's really, really powerful and valuable. So, hey, real quick, Mark drove through Luxembourg, and he says the road condition was not good. Is he telling the truth?
He probably means traffic jams. They are really bad.
Oh, okay.
But Luxembourg is a very well-to-do country, and their public infrastructure is on point. So,
okay.
Unless you drove to a very remote village, that is hard for me to imagine.
Oh, okay. So we'll keep hashing that out off the air. Yeah. My wife says we want to take the family to Europe one day soon. Perhaps we can meet up for a toast to EM. When she was in high school, she toured Europe with a national choir and band. So it was a great experience for her. Yeah. She was there for like a month. So
yeah. I mean, maybe she spoke to Mark. I am in San Antonio, but I do spend a lot of time in Amsterdam often. So
nice.
in August, I'll be in Amsterdam, and I know there's a few herd members. We are already planning on maybe a get-together, an EM meetup. So if you're interested in that, you should definitely reach out. Yeah.
Yes, though that sounds good to me because I had to learn all of the geography of Europe as part of my French teaching. So I had a map of Europe on my ceiling. I had a loft bed. So just a couple feet above me was a map of Europe. And so, I can't wait. One day. Okay. I know we're getting a little long on time, but I just want to I never want to just bounce off while there's some fun comments coming in, and then we can wrap up. It also helps that the bull market is yet to reach its heights over 24, 25. End of this year and next year can really boost the turbines, Bertha. Absolutely. I mean, buying up Bitcoin right now, the turbine holding Bitcoin, the halving took place, but from what I've learned, the halving effect doesn't take place until, 6 months. The boost from the halving, it takes a minimum of 6 months for that to start to happen. And, the ETFs it's all new. The regulations, the legalities, the adoption by some other countries, this is all new. This hasn't had a chance to really get going. It's a train that's just slowly chugging, and it's going to get faster and faster. Yeah. So, hey, Prince from the Netherlands.
Oh, great.
Okay. Yeah, we can meet up there.
All right. I know of at least 3 or 4 people who will make it. So,
well, okay. I'm going to start planning that. We have a friend in Sweden who just bought a house there, so she wants us to go there in the summer of 2025. And my Danish friend bought a house over there also. So things are starting to add up. I'm getting excited as we speak.
yeah, no, it's exciting. The idea of having this like-mindedness and this bond in crypto and DeFi all around the globe, I think it's really nice. Yeah.
It really is nice, So, boy, well, with that being said, I think this is a good time for us to just have our parting remarks. Thank you, audience, folks, for chiming in live. I can't wait to share this around. Shankar, this has been wonderful. I knew it would be.
I agree. It was really a great conversation.
So, this has been such a pleasure. I look forward to us continuing to get to know each other. Do you have any parting remarks you'd like to say?
Just if you have questions, ask in the community. We have lots of people who are very willing to help, and if you don't ask, you cannot be helped, right? So definitely don't be shy.
That's excellent. I agree completely. And you can make friends, you learn and grow, as we say, each one teach one. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I look forward to us just continuing to hopefully we can help some people who have not even heard about Elephant Money in the
Yeah.
future. We just help this community bank give folks an opportunity, have more time with their family, friends, travel to Europe, meet folks they've never met before, travel all over the world. And so thank you, Shankar. Thank you, everybody. It's been great. All right. Get out there, plant seeds, do great things for other people. Until next time, God bless you.